Okay, hello class. This is Tuesday's lecture, okay? And this is on divine command theory, okay? Now, let me shut that off really quick. So, if you guys haven't watched the instructional video, please watch the instructional video. Like I said, make sure if you haven't turned in your essays to do that as soon as you can, okay? And if you have any questions, do not hesitate to email me, all right? So this Tuesday's lecture, we'll have another lecture on Thursday, but Tuesday's lecture is divine command theory. And let me go ahead and share the screen with you guys. Okay. Oops. Okay, there it is. And that is a image of Plato, by the way. No, sorry, not Plato, Socrates. That's an image of Socrates. Okay, so divine command theory, what is it? The theory that asserts that what is moral is determined by God's command, and that for a person to be moral, he is to follow God's commands. St. Augustine, the great Christian theologian from the Western side of theology, he says that the divine command is ethics in pursuit of the supreme good, which delivers human happiness. And he argues that to achieve this happiness, humans must love objects that are worthy of human love in the correct manner. This requires humans to love God, which then allows them to correctly love that which is worthy of being loved. All right. So with divine command theory, the best way to kind of break it down is the most widely known origin of morality comes from the Bible. And this is not saying that other religions are not moral. What this is saying is just that the most widely known moral code comes from the Bible, and in particular, the Ten Commandments, okay? So the Ten Commandments is used in moral law throughout the entire world. A lot of especially the Western in the Western hemisphere, where you have a lot of laws and constitutions that are based off of the Ten Commandments. Okay, so if you divine command theory basically is having an origin of morality that comes from God, and that origin of morality is used to explain the various laws and the various interpretation of what morality is and what goodness is. Okay, that's basically a short definition of divine command theory. So there's also dilemmas that come with this belief. The Euthyphro dilemma, which was written by Plato, and it discusses Socrates' questioning of Euthyphro when they were discussing what it actually divine command theory is. And the Euthyphro dilemma is, are actions morally right because they are commanded by God? Or does God command actions because they are already morally right? In other words, so the first dilemma basically, or the first question that he's posing here is, does God, anything that God commands is right, no matter what it is? And so God can appear anywhere and just command you to do something, no matter what it is. And just because it comes from God, that has to be morally right. That's the first idea that we have here. So, and in other words, so God can create the Ten Commandments, and then God can also reappear and then tell you, well, do the opposite of the Ten Commandments. And as long as it comes from God, it's automatically morally correct. That's what the first definition or the first idea is coming from. Okay. Now, once again, we're not saying if this is correct or incorrect. What we're saying is these are the dilemmas that we have to deal with when understanding divine command theory. The second question is, does God command actions because they are already morally right? In other words, does God already know that these actions are morally right and just keeps by the guideline, just keeps going by this type of guideline? Now, the issue with this idea is that that assumes that there is a moral code that exists before God exists. So then why do we need God to tell us what is right if that moral code already exists before God? and then who created that moral code that exists before God. Okay, so these are two dilemmas of the divine command theory. All right, so once again, the divine command theory is a theory that is all moral good and anything that is ethical comes from God, or the most widely known comes from the Ten Commandments, comes from the Bible. Okay, so here are some questions for divine command theory. If we look at it more closely, why do we see such killing by God in the Bible when God commands us not to kill? That's a question that we could ask. It seems like like uh, um, something that just is hypocritical almost. Okay. Another question that we can ask is why? What if God changes His mind? For instance, can God reappear and give us a new set of Ten Commandments that are the opposite of the old Ten Commandments? And can we say that that's what the moral code is now? Okay, that was kind of what I discussed a little bit earlier. Can God just change His mind? Can God just give us just new things and just because He says so, it has to be? Okay, so that's another question that we have for this dilemma. And if God is following a moral code Himself, who initially gave that moral code to begin with? All right. So these are just a few questions that we can ask about the divine command dilemma. And this is also the question that you will be using in your discussion question. Okay, so remember your discussion question, it'll be about a paragraph long, and then you would have to also respond to another one of your classmates as well, and that counts as your attendance, and it also counts as your participation. So there'll only be one a week. Okay, so if you do the discussion question, you'll get the credit for that week. All right. So the thoughts. So what are your thoughts on the command theory dilemma? And I should say I shouldn't say once a week. You'll get two discussion questions a week. Sorry, I meant to say two. You'll get one on Tuesday, one on Thursday. Okay, so you'll have two discussion questions that are going to come directly from the slides. All right, and it won't be too bad, but that will let me know that you are present. And those two discussion questions, just you'll have them for the whole week. So you guys will like if you can do it on Friday or like on Saturday. I think Sunday night is when I'll probably cut it off. Okay, so you'll have the whole week to do them. You don't have to like complete them on a certain day, but there will be a time limit of 1 week to get those done, and also respond to some of your classmates, and hopefully we can spark some pretty good discussions about this. All right, so the discussion question for this week is what are your thoughts on the divine command theory dilemma? So what do you think is a little hypocritical, or what do you think that it doesn't make sense, or do you believe that yes, this makes perfect sense? You know, and just kind of like what are your thoughts about it? All right, and I have a thought of my own, but I probably won't share it unless you guys really want me to. So I'll leave that option up there because it'll take another video to do that. But if you guys really want my thoughts on it, like my personal thoughts, I do have some pretty good ones about this. But but I won't let you guys know unless you guys really want me to express that. So this is your lecture for Tuesday. Okay, here's your lecture. Here's your discussion question, and don't forget to do the discussion and let me know if you guys have any questions. Okay, all right, so I'll see you guys on Thursday. All right, let me play the music again. All right, see you later.